Hello and welcome. I'm Ray from the Norfolk Beekeeping Experience, based out here in Filby on the Norfolk Broads. We're just in the area of the likes of Great Yarmouth and Hemsby. So lovely location over the Broads. Today I'm here to give you some information on the Apidea and how to set it up and use it if you're a new user. And this forms part of my beekeeping course called Beekeeping Fundamentals. So there's no wash in there, it's just fundamentally the fundamentals of beekeeping. So where should we start? The Apidea, probably the best mini mating nuke on the market, and it's been copied and copied and copied, and most of the copies are absolutely rubbish. There is one or two good variants on this, but an Apidea will last you 20 years. So what is the Apidea all about? So it's a mini mating nuke, and as the description suggests, it's a nuke for mating. So what do you get when you get one? So let's have a look. Get a lid, you get a crown board, you get 3 frames, you get a vent, you get a queen excluder for the entrance, you get a queen excluder for the fondant container, you get a fondant container, you get a slidey door. Now with the slidey door, when you go to put it back in, it's important that the little cutout that you've got there, that's the shape of it, and the little cutout, that goes to the top. You get a sliding floor, and that's it. That is everything bar one thing that you need for your mini mating nuke. So the only other thing you're going to have to add to that is fondant. So let's start. Let's put the floor back in, nice and simple. Let's next put the feeder in. Again, nice and simple. Now the feeder uses one of them bits of plastic there, and that's the queen excluder to stop the queen getting into the feeder. Now in the feeder I use fondant, and I get the little, I think they're 6 ounces, little plastic containers that are used for cut comb. So I always put my fondant in to one of those little plastic containers. I think they're 6 ounce, but they're for cut comb, so you might even have some on the shelf. You could put it in there without one, but it's a nightmare to clean. And again, you can put syrup in there, but again, it's really not something I would do. So a bit of fondant in there in a cut comb container, about 6 ounces, and you're ready to go. So what next? What do we have? We have the door, so we better put that back in. And like I said, the groove to the top. So that's that. Right, what's next? You've got the little bit of plastic. Now that forms a sliding entrance for the entrance on here. So what you do, the entrance is in this corner. You get a drawing pin. Oh, a drawing pin, something else you don't get. So get a drawing pin and put it in the entrance. And obviously you can open the entrance or slide the entrance for your queen excluder. For the moment, we'll just put that in there. Right, so that's that. So what next? You're going to need to put your frames in. So pop your frames in. Now on all three of the frames, you're going to need to add a little strip of foundation. So what I do is I get just some normal foundation, I cut a little strip off, and then I put it in here. So that's all you need, just a little strip of foundation, a couple of centimetres. And what I then do, I get a little bit of melted wax and I just put a few dollops of little melted wax over there just to hold that in. If you're good at it, which I sometimes am, you don't need to put the wax, but I always put a drobble of wax down the bottom there. Now it's important that you only put that little bit in there. Don't be tempted to fill it up, because what you need to do, you need to give the bees something to work on. So you don't want to be overfilling it. So there you go. So you've now got your Apidea. So you've got your fondant, you've got your queen excluder for the fondant, you've got your 3 frames, all with a 2 centimetre strip there or thereabouts of normal foundation, and you're then sort of ready to carry on. So the next thing we do is we put in the crown board. Now the crown board's got a hole on it, and that hole goes above one of the holes there. So once you've got your crown board on, you then need to put in your vent. Now your vent, I don't know if you can see this, has a little ledge on one side. So it's flat on one side and it has a little ledge on the other. That ledge goes over the crown board. So that's it, and that ledge on there just holds the crown board in place a little bit better. So that's it. That is your Apidea built up, ready for the next stage. So pop your lid on and you're ready. What I tend to do, I tend to build up a few of these at once so that I've always got them ready when I need them. So what next? Right, next we need to get both bees in there and a queen cell in there. So right, we'll start with some bees. So the bees are going to go in to the bottom. So I can't show you this because obviously the time of year, but what I do is I get a container and I shake some bees off super frames into this container. And now I use some spray water to dampen the bees down, to just make them stay into that container. Now it's important that you shake your bees off of the supers. The reason for this is you don't want any drones in there. You really just need your good housekeeper bees in there. So I shake all my bees off of the super frames because they won't have any drones. So then what you do is you throw everything on the floor. So once you've got your container of bees, just like this, look, container of bees, you then need to add to your Apidea 1 cup. So I use these, I got them off Amazon, they're pennies, and that is a cup, that is a measured cup. So your bees are all in your container, they're buzzing around but they're not flying because they're damp, and you can just scoop a cup of bees. Because they're damp, they tend to stay there. And then what you want to do is just open your floor, pop your cup of bees in and shut the floor. So that's that Apidea now. It's got food, it's got frames with foundation, it's got bees in there. Now that's ready to go and to the next stage. But just before I show you the next stage, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just show you a little hack. If you don't have one of these to measure a cup of bees, what you can do is you can, one I prepared earlier, you can get one of them skinny tall milk bottles, and they have on the side them little grooves, and I always cut them at the top one. And then what you can do is you can put them on the scales and set the scales to 0 and put them on grams, and then get some water and fill that until it's got about between 230 and 250 grams. And then that line of the water, which is there, that becomes your cup measurement for the bees. Little clean up. So you've now got your homemade measure of a cup with your Sharpie line, and then you've got your 1 cup of bees ready to put in. So that's a good hack, but in all honesty, for the pennies that these cost off of Amazon, just buy some of them. Right, so spilt some water. So you've got your Apidea and you're now ready to add your queen. So what I do is, I'm not a breeder, I don't breed hundreds and hundreds, but I do have some breeder queens, some F0 breeder queens that I use for my stock for the Apidea. So what I do is, if the queen cell was hanging off of here, I go in it's a bit hard to show without a queen cell on there. I go in and I've got my queen cell. So my queen cell's hanging, it's nice and round. Let's see if I can make a queen cell. There you go. Look at that. There's a queen cell I made earlier. Anybody remember Blue Peter? Right, so you've got your queen cell and you need to put that into the Apidea. So you've got your Apidea with your bees on there. And then what I do is, I've left plenty of foundation at the top of the queen cell, and I just fold that over. Obviously you've got to be really, really careful. I open the hole on the Apidea. Making a bit of a hash of this. And I pop the queen cell in. So I've now got my Apidea with my queen cell. Trust me, I'm a lot better at putting the queen cells in when they're a queen cell, and I'm not trying to be John Noakes from Blue Peter. Oh, who remembers John Noakes? Anyway, I digress. So you've now got your Apidea. It's got fondant, it's got bees, it's got a queen. What next? Okay, so next, you just need to make sure the door is in the down position. And then get your spray of water and just give the bees a little bit of spray. That's just obviously to give them some water. So next, what you're going to do, you're going to go and put this Apidea to the back of a garage, back of a shed. Obviously you're not going to put it somewhere boiling hot. So just somewhere nice and dark. It has to be dark and it has to be relatively cool. So 14, 15 degrees is ideal. And they'll maintain their temperature within the Apidea. So right, you've got that popped in to your storeroom or your garage or your shed, and every day, twice a day, you go back and you spray them with water. Right, now let's just hop back just one stage for your queen cell. Now it's important that you get your queen cell in there at the right time. So from the queen laying the egg to it becoming ready to hatch is 16 days. So you need to maintain your records pretty close so that you put a queen cell in here that's 14, preferably 15 days old, so that the queen cell's in there with the bees in the dark, and she should emerge on about day 16 when they'll still be in the dark. So they should have a day or so in the dark with the bees that you put in there, the nicely emerged queen, and they're then ready to think about putting them out into the open. So once you're pretty happy that they're going to be a hatched queen in there, she's ready to go out. But you don't want to leave them in the dark any more than 3 days. So it's really, really, really important that you calculate it right. And believe me, you'll get it wrong. I get it wrong all the time. Well, about 1 in 5. So it is important that you get it wrong. So what next? So you're ready now to put your Apidea out into your apiary. So go and collect your Apidea and go and place it on the stand in the apiary. Now do this late in the evening, as late as you can do it, preferably when it's dark. So go and stand this on the stand in the apiary late at night, preferably when it's dark, but it's not imperative, but it's really best if you can do it late at night. And just leave it on the stand. Then next morning about 6, 7 o'clock, as early as you can get there, you're ready to release the bees. So nice and straightforward, you're just going to slide your door open and you're done. Now it's important at this stage that the queen excluder on the entrance is off, in the off position. So you've just got the hole. That's all you need. So what you should have in there, you should have your bees, your cupful of bees that you put in. They will have been working hard to build up the comb, build on the comb, and that's why you don't put a full amount of comb in there. You need them to be able to build up on it. And you've got, hopefully, your nicely emerged queen ready to go out and get mated. So the next thing I do is I'll leave them there on that stand for 3 or 4 weeks. I have a little glance, but I don't open them up for 3 or 4 weeks. As you're walking past, you can sort of have a little look, see if bees are coming in, bees are coming out. But do nothing for 3 or 4 weeks. That's really, really important. That gives time for the queen to get out on her mating flight, to go out and get nicely mated, to get back to the Apidea, to feel comfy and to start laying up them frames with eggs. There's no rush, don't be rushed. This is where your patience is going to count and pay dividends. So in 4 weeks' time, you can come back and have a look. So hopefully the queen cell's gone. You can very gently pull your frames out and have a look. Everything's looking great. You've got the queen there. She's nicely mated. She's laying some eggs. They're building the frame up. You've got everything that you would want to see. Now at this stage, you can either take the queen out and put her into another hive, or if you're not quite ready for her, what you can do is you can take out the feeder, and with the feeder out, you can add another 2 frames, and that buys you just a little bit of time. Now, once you're ready to take the queen out, you've got 2 choices. You can either put the hive away, put the mating hive away, put the mating nuke away, and that's it, you're done with it. Or what I do is I start it on a second cycle. So on this cycle, I then go and get another queen cell. Get another queen cell, place it in there, put the lid back on, and start again. At this stage, you do not need to put the Apidea back into the dark. That's only the very first time you use it. Again, put your queen cell in and leave it there and come back again in 3 or 4 weeks. And hopefully, if you've got all your timings right, you should be just producing a nice little crop of your own queens. Now, you don't have to put queens in from an artificially inseminated, what we like to call an F0. If you've got queens that are nice and gentle, you can breed from them. There's nothing to say you can't breed from them. So if you've got a nice gentle hive and you want to do it as cheaply as possible, just make yourself an F2 from one of your nice hives. Hopefully, if she's on a scale of 1 to 10, if the queen that you're going to use for your queen cell is a number 5, lovely and calm, then her children are going to be between a 3 and a 4. Might even be a 5 if you're really lucky, but her daughters should be a 3 or a 4. So you can build up your stock really cheaply, but don't be tempted to buy some of the really cheap mini mating nukes. Get an Apidea and it will last you years and years. There is another good version of this on the market, and it's by a bellow. They call it their German nuke, I think. And it is exactly the same as the Apidea, but it's only a couple of pounds cheaper. So I would buy an Apidea. So hopefully that's been useful. We'll come back to the Apidea later in the year, and I'll show you some more techniques about using it. But that is pretty much all I can show you at the moment on the desk, on the bench. So any questions, please ask. Again, I'm Ray from the Norfolk Beekeeping Experience. This was another episode of Beekeeping Fundamentals. I hope you gained a little bit of help and knowledge from it. Thanks for taking the time to watch. I know it's been quite a long video. Thank you.